What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, and we are back on the bus with my good friend Trevor of the Black Dahlia Murder.
Motherfuckers!
It's great to see you
Yeah, you
since
too,
Summer
buddy.
Slaughter.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
can't believe it's been a
Indeed.
year. I got a bit of a bone to pick with you because you lied to me on Summer Slaughter. You said you were not performing any more records in its entirety after Nocturnal, and now you're doing Night.
Yeah, well, that wasn't really, hadn't been dreamt up yet, so... So, yes, I did lie, but I didn't mean to.
Yeah, it's all
And
good.
now it's over. We're never doing it again.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'd like to not do it ever.
Well, it's cool that you performed like one of your older records in its entirety, and now you're doing one of your newer records. There has to be like a different reaction with the Black Dahlia Murder fans, right?
Oh, it's cool. It's cool to play the new record, man. I feel like super proud of it, and it seems to be getting a lot of mileage for us, so I thought, wow, there must, maybe there's demand to hear all these songs. Let's do it, and we got a few old tracks mixed in there too, chop it up a bit, and yeah, man, it's been fun. We're just really enjoying the Nightbringers era.
Absolutely.
It's been a good time.
One thing I was curious about with Nightbringers, this is the first record to feature Brennan Ellis on guitars, right? And being that he also plays an artist, did maybe him joining the band maybe allow some newer elements to be brought into Black Dahlia?
Yeah, for sure. He brought in a definite like rock flair to a few songs and parts. The song "As Good as Dead" especially has like I don't know, it's just like a real rock and kind of bass to it. It's like something we haven't done before, you know what I mean? And the kid he's a rocker,
Yeah.
People call him Bran Halen. I just learned that the other day. His friends,
Bran Halen?
Macabre guys call him Bran Halen, and that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. So, but it makes sense. He's like he's young, but he's such an old soul in what he likes, and like the guitar players that he likes the old Shred Gods and the Shrapnel Records dudes, and his favorite bands are like fucking Yes and Toto, and he's like not like your average 25-year-old, you know what I mean?
Yeah. See that older generation? My generation is not that fucked. We like older bands.
There's still hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, he blows me away, man. I mean, he's like an amazing musician, and bringing him in, he wrote a good chunk of songs for the record, and I think that he just brought so much excitement to the fold, because we're like, wow, we got this fucking young hotshot guitar wizard kid, and I think he pushed all of us in the studio to like reach, and yeah, man, it's just been an awesome experience having him. Now it's he's been around a long time. He was actually touring with us quite a while before we even announced it, because like Changing Members is so hairy now for us. People get attached, especially the DVDs made it really hard.
Yeah.
Because people watch the DVDs and they kind of like they don't want to accept that change after that. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he
but
does a
Ryan,
job.
yeah, he's done a great job. It's been really smooth. People have been very accepting, and Ryan Knight hand selected him when he was leaving, and the whole phasing out of Ryan and coming into Brandon was just so smoothly done. It was definitely the most like professional change lineup that we've had and the most smooth. So yeah, man, it's just been a great time, man. Like I said, the record's doing really well for us, and that's amazing.
Everybody's been
eight
loving
records
it.
Deep, so
Yeah.
we're just happy guys right now, man.
Yeah.
Good things are abound.
Now, for you, being that this is the 8th record with Black Dahlia Murder, when you write new music at this point, do you kind of like know what you're going into when you go into the studio, and it's kind of like in a way going through the motions, or has making every record just been its own completely different experience?
It's kind of both. I think now that we've been in the studio 8 albums plus some EPs and other things, we've been in the studio a lot of times, and at first it was really nerve-wracking for me and really an anxious experience, and but through repeat visits and stuff, and now it's just it's something I look forward to. I really enjoy that aspect of things, and building an album from scratch, and just the kind of pride that comes with making an entire album with your friends, you know what I mean? And like no one else is sticking their finger in the pie and it's just you built it with your hands and from the ground up. So it's this is definitely our proudest moment, but yeah, it's definitely come a long way from shitting my pants in the studio. It was definitely nerve-wracking. We were recording with these local guys that we looked up to that were in Walls of Jericho, you know what I mean?
You just talked to them last week.
Right, so they were like the big band in Detroit, and we were, just like little squirts, and we were looking up to Mike Hasty especially, and he was in Earth Mover before that, and they were like one of my first local bands that ever got me going to shows and shit. So recording in front of those guys that, was like oh, it was
and in a hardcore capital of the world, you bring in some death metal in there.
Oh, that was cool. Around then, that's what we did, was played hardcore shows, and there was a lot of really metal shit coming out. You know what I mean? And, like, that's the beginning of all those, like, at the gates riffs started trickling down everywhere. The banana riffs, we call them.
Banana riffs?
Like,
Banana riffs.
Yeah, banana riffs, dude.
Ring.
So, we were playing hardcore shows, but they were pretty mixed, Like, there was a lot of, like, bands, like, with death metal involved, and the Red Chord would come through town, Between the Buried and Me before they blew up, and, those were the bands that we, like, kind of made friends with early on. But
okay.
We would play with Throwdown, we played with Bane once. That was cool. I liked all those bands, but I think that they kind of encouraged us, or having to compete with those bands. Like, they're playing just 3 chords and jumping around all crazily, and we were like, well, we got to put on a good show like that. Even though it's more complicated. We're like, we got to get involved. We got to get physical.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, a lot of people, you guys, without any question, are like a death metal band to me. Like, but, like, you guys have that new school charm to it. Like, like, I wouldn't necessarily put you on the same level. Like, you guys didn't start with Cannibal Corpse or Morbid Angel. But, like, with bands like modern day death metal bands like Gatecreeper, for example, or who's a little bit newer.
They're sick, man. They're fucking awesome.
But, like, would you say that, like, you have a variety of fans because you have both the old school and new school death metal sound?
Oh, for sure, man. It's, people's mileage on what we are varies all the time. That you can ask 10 people in the line right now for the show, and, some will say deathcore, some will say metalcore, some will say death metal, and anything in between. And that kind of... the inability for people to pin us down, I think, has been an actual advantage, Like, I used to get kind of, like, butthurt. You're like, well, it's death metal. I mean, why can't they just call us death metal, But I think, honestly, like, it helped us break through the glass ceiling of, only playing with death metal bands, or, you know what I mean? Like, reaching a certain popularity. Like, Ozfest is not what you typically see for a death metal band, you know what I mean? But, like, we started doing that, and Sounds of the Underground, and all this
Mayhem
shit that was
Fest.
way bigger than I would have ever imagined for us, a little death metal band, So, whatever. I don't care what people call us now, man. As long as they're calling us, as long as they like the band and it keeps them coming back, then it's awesome, And I do see all walks of, the underground out in the crowd. So yeah. I like that we have that kind of... we can appeal to all different kinds of people and shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you guys, I think, kind of returned the favor because you brought Angel Maker out on Summer Slaughter this year. I didn't no idea who they were, and now they're going crazy.
Oh yeah, man. We try to fly the flag for younger bands and help cool bands out, and it's people did it for us, you know what I mean? And that's just how it works, man. And I stay plugged into the underground, and I'm trying to rep small bands and everything that I do, and bands that I like, and kind of return the favor to metal, basically, that I look at it like it, saved my life and gave me something, that I love living for. So it's the least I can do, rather than just be like competitive tightwad, you know what I mean? That's like too cool to acknowledge another band or something.
Absolutely. New bands are what is like keeps.
Yeah, dude, gotta have new bands, gotta have new new
brought
sounds.
Shadow of Intent out, and they're fucking
they're awesome, man. Definitely huge buzz on those guys, and they've played things really smart. I heard him saying the other day that it was only their 18th show, so this must be like their 23rd now. But I mean, that's amazing. They got so big off of, and they played it so smart,
Yeah.
So kudos to those guys for sure. They're killing it.
Yeah. And one other question I had is this is a new question I love to ask lead vocalists. So as a vocalist, do you need to hear music before you have lyrics in mind, or has the band ever kind of like wrote according to a lyrical concept?
No, it's definitely the music first. I mean, I could write a song just out of nowhere, but I prefer to just start with the song already there, so I can I work each lyric in just perfectly with the feel, or what I perceive to be perfectly with the feel.
Yeah.
And I'll like come up with lines and ideas and kind of put them in a notebook and stuff, but generally definitely starts with the song, and I'll kind of react to the song, and I listen to it, very intently and try to capture what it makes me feel, you know what I mean, and try to make something that I think will be, in line with that, Stirring Seas of Salted Blood was a really slow song, and it was different, and I just thought it kind of sounded like the sea, you know what I mean? Like, so I just imagined these waves crashing, and then it turned into, a ghost ship on a sea of blood, and, piloted by skeletons, and, metal shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to hear that in a Lady Gaga song. Maybe, you never know.
Maybe, man.
I mean, that meat outfit was pretty metal.
Yeah.
But Trevor, I want to thank you so much for your
man.
time.
Thanks
It's
for
always
having me,
great
dude.
talking to you,
Yep.
hanging out
Good
with
one.
you. But before we go, just the usual. I always save the most shallow and typical question for
Okay.
last. What can we be expecting for Black Dahlia Murder for the end of 2018 going into 2019?
We have more touring ahead. It's not done yet. We have festivals in the end of summer over in Europe. We have an Australian thing brewing, and just a few more things beyond that. I think there'll be one more U.S. tour before the end of the album cycle.
Awesome.
So
Look at-
that's very in the very early stages, but
You better hit New York again.
yeah, I'd hope so, man. Hope so.
Yeah. But thanks again, Trevor.
Hey, thank you.
Everybody, we are here with Trevor of the Black Dahlia Murder. Always great to have him back. This is Alex from Heavy New York. Pick up their latest record, Nightbringers. It is absolutely brutal, and we will see you next time.
See ya.